Hi, we're looking at our next poem, Die Nuwe Kind. And as usual, what we'll do is we'll look at here's the Afrikaans poem, there's the English translation, and then over here we have those notes that I really hope you will find helpful. So see if we're recording. Yes, we are. Just remember that all our books, the Afrikaans Made Simple cheat sheets and the Afrikaans Made Simple the senior phase book and the primary school books are all available at CNA. So please get your copy there. Also tell your friends. If you have any problems with Afrikaans, this is really your solution to fix it quickly and effectively. You don't need extra lessons. You don't need to waste any time. Get it done. Alright, on to the poem. So let's read through the Afrikaans bit and look at the translations, and then we'll look at the notes. Ons oë pen jou in jou spore vas. Our eyes pin you down in your tracks. Okay. The context here is it's a school and there's a new kid at school. Okay, so ons is, this is very important to know who's who here. Ons is the narrator, who's evidently one of the kids, one of the students. That yo is referring to this new child. Okay, the new kid at school. Okay, so our eyes pin you into your tracks. Die nuwe kind hier in ons klas, the new child here in our class. In ons skooldrag, langs ons meneer. So that little sign there just emphasizes the word ons. So you're in our uniform and you're standing next to our teacher. Okay. Jou hare volgens die reëls geskeer. Your hair is shaved or cut neatly according to the rules. Here's the name. Hector Sebukwe. Hoor ons jou naam. We hear your name. We hear, the rumor is, yes, a koningskind. You are royalty. You're a royal child. Al is jy skaam, even though you are shy. Okay? Bedees knik jy. Timidly you nod. Bedees is a nice word. It's shy, skaam. Asof jy ons bedank, as if you are thanking us. This child's very polite, very in its place, submissive to the school rules and its new school. En gaan sit dan in jou bank, and then you go and sit at your desk quietly. Sit down still in your bunk. Now there's a little bit of a time shift. Now it's break time. Uit 'n Tupperware bakkie, soos dit hoort, out of a little Tupperware bowl, as it should be, as it ought to be, eet jy poses jou snytjies brood. You eat your break time, you eat your slices of bread. Maar een kant, but alone, towards one side, isolated, een kant, alleen, alone, under a tree, gaan staan jy dan en droom. You stand there and you daydream under a tree. You don't play or mix with the other children. In die kunstklas, now we're in the art classroom, so another shift in ruimte and space here, in the setting. So in die kunstklas word jou pen a mast. Your pen becomes a mast of a ship, a sailing ship, sailboat. Okay. Hys is to waist. You waist up. This is the central metaphor here in the poems. The only important one, I think. Hys jy prentjie seile, picture sails. So you're wasting up paintings or drawings, pictures out of your rib cage. So these pictures come out of your rib cage. So as we'll take a note, a very personal place. Vaar jy weg oor wit papier. You sail far away over white paper. Where? Into the future. In die toekoms in. Sailing into the future. Nog ver van hier. ... Okay. Far from here. you're sailing away into the future. Okay, that's the idea. Let's look at the finer meaning that we can unpack for this poem. Okay, so the title gives us the context. It's a new child. Daar's 'n nuwe leerling in die skool. There's a new child in the school. Moontlik swart kind in 'n blanke skool. We're possibly looking at apartheid sort of setting here. I'm just going to put that in there. Moontlik gedurende apartheid. Possibly during apartheid. Could be. I think for this poem it's very possible. Moontlik gedurende apartheid. The apartheid years when there was sort of obviously black, white, colored and Indian were very much separated on a deep social level. Okay. The child is uncomfortable. It's ongemaklik. There's this us versus them feeling in this poem. Okay, it's us, or it's more us versus him. Okay, it's this whole, all the white kids or all the kids at school versus this new kid. He's an important black kid, apparently. He is from, he's royalty. He's a king's child. Okay. His name, interestingly, is Hector Sobukwe. And that gives us a whole new meaning to this poem. As we'll see a little bit later, I did make a note for you on the name. And by association, also Hector Peterson. If you don't know who that is, you'll get a note. There is a note on that over here. Okay, there's the note about Hector Sobukwe and Hector Peterson. Very important. Okay, so who's this child? Well, the child's name is Hector Sobukwe, and by association, as I'll explain a little bit later, also Hector Peterson. You must know that. Okay. So the ons here, who are the ons? I would definitely ask that. Who's the ons? Well, dis die kinders in die skool, in die klas. It's all the kids in the school, all the kids in the class. The yo, as we mentioned, it's the new kid. Okay, so there's that us versus them feeling. Very much a reflection of what was happening in apartheid society back then. Totally, races were totally separated. There was a white government, white churches. I'm not even going to start going down that route, but it's sufficient to say that there was a feeling of dislike between races, more so than there is now even. Okay, so interesting metaphor. Our eyes pin you down into your footsteps and your spore, in your tracks. They pin you down in your tracks. So it's almost like he can feel them staring at him. Okay, so the others are staring at this strange child. He can feel it. You can feel when someone's staring you down. Like, what is this kid doing here in a white school? He doesn't belong here. That's the sort of feeling we get here. Okay. So again, there's this herhaling of the ons. Look there, ons and ons and ons. It's that repetition of herhaling van die ons. Dit wys, it shows us the Nuwe Kind is nie welkom nie. It shows us that he's not welcome. So we're talking here about exclusion, excluding a person or a group, and that's essentially what discrimination is, isn't it? Discrimination, when you're excluding a certain group or culture or language or religion or something from the mainstream society. We don't do that anymore in South Africa. We passed that. Our constitution looks after people like that. Okay. So there's prejudice. So just learn these sort of words: uitsluiting, discrimination, vooroordeels, prejudice. That's what those words sort of speak to the theme of this poem. Dis die tema. Okay. Interesting, it says his hair is shaved according to the rules. Okay. His obviously has black hair. Okay, so and the other kids have straight white person's hair. Okay. Hy probeer inpas en conformeer. He tries to fit in and conform. He doesn't want to draw any extra attention to himself. He's different, and he's already different enough as it is. Now we're looking, now interestingly, die vooroplasing van die naam. They put the Hector Peterson in front in the sentence. You should start with ons to have the correct word order. But die vooroplasing, I didn't take a note of that. I'm just going to write it there. It's when they move the subject, it's the object, of the sentence to the beginning of the sentence. Just to emphasize the name. The name here is critical. It's very, very important to not only to the poem, but to the theme of the poem. Okay. Hector Sobukwe. Now, who was this guy? You need to know. Now, I took a very summarized note for you here. This is all you need to know about this guy. Okay. Die eerste president van die PAC. He was the first president of the Pan-African Congress. It was a political sort of movement that split away from the ANC. Hy breek weg van die ANC. To them, the ANC were, I guess, too liberal and still willing to work with white people to bring about a South Africa that's sort of multi-racial. However, the Pan-African Congress were totally against it. They were like, the white people must move. South Africa is for the black African. All right, so that was the feeling there. That's not too important. And what happened was Hector Sobukwe, he was working for the university at that time, and he resigned as a lecturer because of this. The paswette, the pass laws, the black people had to carry a little identity booklet. Okay, paswette. And what he did was hy loop na die polisiestasie om homself oor te gee vir arrestasie by Orlando polisiestasie. He walked to the station to give himself over for arrest at Orlando police station. And in this walk, in this protest, Hector Peterson, that famous picture of Hector, the woman carrying Hector Peterson's body, shot. Okay, he was shot and killed, and that event, today we know it as the Sharpeville killing or the Sharpeville shooting, where 59 people died. Okay, I think it was 59, yeah. So Sobukwe word gearresteer en tronk toe gestuur, and because he was part of this this event, part of this optog, he was sentenced to, I think it was initially 6 years of prison, but he was in prison for so long, eventually, and he was under house arrest until the day he died for this. It was terrible suffering for him and his family because of the stance he took there. But yeah, I'm talking a lot here, but the note here is all you need to know. I think it'll be safe if you know that. You definitely need to know. So that's how these two are linked. So they have, as fate would have it, the same name, Hector, but there's a very clear link between Sobukwe and Peterson. Okay, so this new child, it's Hector Sobukwe, but in the shadows, it's actually also, on a deeper symbolic and metaphorical level, it's definitely also Hector Peterson. I think it's fairly safe to say that. Just check with your teacher. Remember, I'm not your teacher, so check with your teacher if that's fine. Okay. Koningskind. Okay. Interesting that they would say, oh, he's a king's child. Okay. So he's not really afstammeling. He's not really a descendant of kings. No. So I was trying to figure this out why they would say that. Maybe it's because of his natural leadership that shone through. Some people just have that air of leadership about them. You'll know friends who have, lucky they're born with some leadership qualities. The rest of us have to develop it, often later in life. Hy is leier van die PAC. Maybe they call him royalty because he's the leader, or the king, as it were, of the Pan-African Congress. Maybe it just refers to his personality. I'm just going to put that in. So I think that actually works. Hy het sy persoonlikheid. Hy is a leier. He's a leader. Okay. Hulle bevorder die belange van swart Suid-Afrikaners. So they could ask you, what was it? Well, they trying to advance the interests of black South Africans, obviously politically and economically and socially and so on. Okay. Then they use words like hy's bedeesd, hy's skaam, hy's still. Well, wouldn't you be if you were the only black kid in a white school? It's because you can feel the exclusion of the other kids. You know when you're ostracized. People are very finely tuned into that. When you are cut out of a group, we sense it immediately. Nie baie sosiaal nie. He's not very social, perhaps. Even says there as if he's thanking us that we can be in the school. Maybe it's just because he's nederig. It's just because he's humble. He has great humility. Okay. Then there's the word maar, and I see somewhere they said it's like a shift in the poem. I don't really see the impact of the shift, but if they ask for one, I guess it's there. The effect van, so there's a deepening of the poem. There it says it finally talks about how he's alone and how he's ostracized and he's daydreaming under the tree. So this is the effect of the exclusion, is his loneliness. Okay, sometimes loneliness is a good thing for somebody. It develops character. Okay, you have to step up. I'm just going to see if I can move this poem down so we can see a bit better. Okay. So Tupperware bakkies, Tupperware bakkies. So that just shows that he eats out of Tupperware. He might be a special kid, but everybody eats out of Tupperware. Even if you're rich and famous, we all eat out of plastic at some point. Hy is soos die ander kinders. Hy probeer inpas by die vreemde skool. He tries to fit in with this strange school. Hy's nog nie die leier nie, maar hy het potential. He's not yet a leader, but the potential is there. Potential is there. Then it says there, hy's alleen en hy dagdroom. He's alone. He's daydreaming. Where is it? Alleen dagdroom. It means he's kunstig. He's pretty arty. Okay, he's pretty creative. He's a dromer. Let's just put the word creatief in there. That describes his character, his personality. Okay, he has other talents that some of the other kids typically don't have. Now we come to this metaphor, which is a great metaphor. I really like it. Your pen en mas, hy's prentjie seile. Where is it in the poem? In die kunstklas word jou pen en mas, hy's jy prentjie seile uit jou ribbekas. Very powerful two lines. So this is metaphor of a sail ship, sailing boat. Sorry, my English failing me. Sy kuns gee hom die platform. So his art is giving him the platform to express his ideas. Gee sy vir hom die platform om sy idees uit te druk. The whole world can now see his art. So the sailboat is a symbol of his freedom. Okay, so art, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Often a place where you can really give your thinking free rein. Sy kuns maak hom vry van die onderdrukkende wette van apartheid. So his art, in his art, he is free from the oppressive, onderdrukkende, oppressive laws of apartheid. Uit sy ribbekas, so interesting that his art here, his pictures are coming out of his rib cage. That's quite powerful, quite dramatic. So you can say that his art comes from his heart, the real place or the real seat of his emotion. Okay. Die toekoms in. Jou pen word 'n mas. So vaar jy weg, you sail away into the future. So it's more than just art here. He has a bright future. He is a future leader. He's going to have an impact. Okay. Then there's that ellipse there. Obviously, die leser dink aan die toekoms. It makes the reader think about, and it's a nice place to stop the poem and have an ellipsis there, because it makes the reader think about the deeper meaning of this metaphor. Okay, so that ends it there. And what is the theme of this poem? Well, prejudice and discrimination hurt people and break others down. So vooroordeel, prejudice, discrimination, it can hurt people, it can break others down. In a way, it also, in a sort of ironic way, it also develops very strong leaders. Often in oppressed groups, you'll get enormously strong, powerful leaders, talented, not always good, but talented leaders that come out. So there's the structure of the poem. We see there is bar rhyme, coupled rhyme. Okay. If they ask why is that functional, why is that functional? Remember, you must always know why rhyme is functional in a poem. That is a hot tip. Functional. Why is it functional? So bar rhyme, it fits with this idea. This is just my thoughts. I could be way off here, but I might be right, I think. Coupled rhyme, it fits with this idea dat Hector probeer inpas by sy nuwe omgewing. It fits in with this idea that he's trying to fit in with his new surroundings. He's trying to blend in. He's not going to cross any lines like cross rhyme would. Everything is coupled and neatly arranged. Okay, maybe a bit far-fetched, but hell, if they ask it, you've got to give an answer. So, ruimtes, the settings. Okay, the settings. There's the klaskamer, there's the playground, then there's the art classroom, and then there's this metaphorical setting almost of the sail ship. Okay, so maybe a fourth there could be the metaforische, die metaforische achtergrond, metaforische milieu. Oops, that's horrible. Milieu. There we go. Metaforische milieu, the metaphorical setting there. Okay, I think that wraps it up. Hope that helps. Remember to please support our books, Afrikaans Made Simple. Get yourself a book. Please share this link with, you can share it countrywide. I don't mind. It's free. It's to benefit you. And thank you for the support that the channel's been receiving. I really appreciate it. Cool, and that is me signing off. Until the next poem. Bye.